Welcome back, everybody. My name's A Predator54, aka Adam, coach of the McChesney Park Slowpokes, and today I bring you my draft analysis for PML. This season is 6v6 singles on Scarlet and Violet. This is going to be a trial run because realistically there is no defined tier system for where moms should be placed, so they went off of their judgment. Granted, a few of the things on the tier list are way out of place, and you'll see that on a few of my picks. But what you see on the screen is what were the tier requirements. Say you fill a tier 3, a tier 4, or a tier 5, you can now use one of your free picks to pick from tier 3 through 5. Say, for example, you picked your tier 3, well, now all of your free picks can be tier 3, allowing you to have 4 middle of the pack mons. And the way the wild card works, it has to be the very last pick of draft and any tier. So this allows you to get a second tier 1 if you so choose. But before we get into this, I would like to give a shout out to my wife. She spent probably at most 2 months on this. She made this wonderful setup. This is our office room downstairs. It's one of our spare bedrooms, but she ended up getting this lovely desk for me. So my original setup upstairs in a cramped office is now downstairs in its own little room. I have fairy tale poster, which is a custom drawing. This was hand drawn and my friend picked it up. He spent quite a bit of money for it. This was my birthday present from last year. All of that is made out of acrylic, which is amazing. You got Attack on Titan and Hunter x Hunter. The wife definitely listens on what animes I love. This whole desk, the empty area, is enough space to have a second setup. So if I ever needed to have one set up here and one over here, or a laptop to do my damage scouts, I can freely do that. All I have to do is turn and type, or have them pre-open. I also have a work area for if I need to multitask. I have the space to do that without having to go to a separate area. Like, say I need to work on a project, right there, open space. Another good thing about this room is behind the desk, all of these squares you see are noise canceling pads. So this will cancel out some of the echo during my recordings, allowing my voice to come through more clearly. Hopefully it helps. Granted, it's not on every wall in here, but this also makes it to where people can't hear me out the door. So it's going to be loud for me in here, but it's not going to be loud for people out there because it'll cancel the noise. But love this girl to death, and I appreciate her doing this. And she even got these little portraits. If you can read them, it says gamers never die, they respawn. When life gets hard, it just means you leveled up, and sleep, eat, game, and repeat. The desk did come with like a lot of custom stickers to put onto it to make it look all cool. It came with extra, so she took the coffee table and she put a bunch of them on it. So now the coffee table with a built-in shelf underneath of it for game storage now matches the desk in the room, which is kind of funny. I appreciate her doing this. I didn't take a photo of the closet. That it has built-in shelving in the closet because it's supposed to be for clothes, but she has my Dragon Ball Z, my One Piece, and my My Hero Academia statues in there. There's also a shelf that also doubles as like a sleeping area for the cats and a scratching post if they want to come in here and join me. So now I can have if they want to come in here with the space heater, the kitties can get all nice and warm in a nice little bed that's built into the bookshelf. But without further ado, let's hop on into the draft analysis. Tier 1 Dragonite first round. I was 9th pick overall out of 16. My wife was at 8th. I ended up getting Dragonite. This is a terrifying mon in this meta, with being able to become Terra Normal with extreme speed. Gets access to Thunder Punch, Ice Punch, Surf, Hurricane. Gets access to, I believe, Fly and Wing Attack still. Gets access to quite a bit of moves coverage-wise. Galore. Can be Terra fighting to give it fighting stab without a drawback from superpower lowering the attack and defense. So that is pretty cool. This having multi-scale taking half damage as long as it's full health is amazing. That guarantees that the Dragon Dance can get off. This also has access to Inner Focus, which means it can't be flinched. But all in all, it is a wonderful mon. I have this, I believe, in a... If I correct me wrong, I have this in another draft as well for the Masters of Sword and Shield and TGR. Granted, that one's dual format, and I'm going to click Tailwind more often, but this mon does get Tailwind. I can provide speed for 4 turns to the mon behind me if I know I am going to die. Say I am on a timer from Toxic, this is my final turn, I can either kill or I can give speed to what's behind me. All in all, Dragonite is a phenomenal mon. Round 2, I question this entire doc with 1 pick. Tier 3 Arcanine. In honor of my late friend Anthony, who I lost a couple months ago in September. Part of the reason why I dropped YCL so abruptly, because you can't, losing somebody you spent all of your Pokemon experience playing with on and off, or he would just be the person you battle all the time, or your trade partner, or go to info for prep help. That's kind of impactful. So, a little spoiler, 3 out of the 4 of the drafts I've done so far in SV have had Arcanine on it, because this is me and Anthony's favorite mon. The mon is just so good in general. Just having Intimidate in this gen is so good, because there are so many physical mons. And this has extreme speed, which is a super clutch priority move like Dragonite has, where you can pick off something before it kills you. Say they are set up, they're low on health, extreme speed, it's gone. That is so valuable, because everything has the opportunity to set up in this meta. Granted, I am weak to rocks and spikes. Arcanine just doesn't care. Like before in Sword and Shield, when there was less hazards, you would run Boots on this. Boots and Intimidate. This is a good Rocky Helmet user, because you nerf their attack, sponge a hit, they take damage from Helmet. Now you have the opportunity, if you outspeed them, to fire off a Will-O-Wisp and cripple a team. Another thing about this meta is there is less... I don't even think Heal Bell's in the game. I know Aromatherapy is, but it's limited. So once something is status, it's statused. I know Healing Wish is on a few Pokemon. It's like at most 10. But even then, once it's status, it's status. So if this is breaking all of their physical mons with just firing off a Will-O-Wisp and they don't have a switch in, well then my opponent is not going to have a good time. Also, I just realized I need to turn this back on. Sorry about that. The webcam was supposed to be on since slide 1. Luckily, I'm only 2 in. But this being in tier 3, that's a steal. Honestly, I thought this would have been tier 1 or tier 2. This mon is just incredibly good. And then we get into, it came right back to me. Toxtricity, tier 2. Maybe times 4 weak to ground, but normal gem boosted boom burst with punk rock. Even further boosted with silk scarf, and specs. It's a nuke. No ghost type, no switching. Steel types, it's a 2-shot. There are not incredibly bulky steel types in this gen. You got like Caparaza and Fortress. Anything else just gets shredded by this. Orthworm takes, I believe I saw the calc, if it was specs, it takes 80%. Because Orthworm's SPDEF isn't there. It's, but the fact that this can come in, just click Boom Burst, this is a nightmare. And then it takes away its times 4 weakness to ground by becoming a normal type. Now it's neutral. Holy shit. This gets access to shift gear. That it's +2 speed, +1 attack, plus the boom burst. Now you're faster than you would be with a scarf. Now you can just freely boom burst. Okay, they bring in a fighting steel type or ghost type. Well, you have the option of being terrifying or Terra Ghost. And now you got that +1 attack with Terra Blast to just punch a hole through those 2 typings. This is incredibly hard to prep for, and it is terrifying. And then, round 4. Oh, and I believe this, before I skip on, I believe this got toxic spikes this gen. I'd have to double check that. That's pretty cool if it does. We got Dondozo. This thing is fat. Physically defensive, it is fat. Being pure water is insane. Granted, its PDEF is just, ugh. But its HP stat and its defense make up for it. I got this because I didn't realistically see a better water type out there. Because I'm a little bit blind, apparently. You'll see why later on. But yeah, I got the Donzo just so I can have a beefy tank that resists the ground, rock, and ice moves. But I just felt very limited with this mod. So, that's the Donzo. Mainly it's Breath Sleep Talk with the Rocky Helmet with Liquidation, Curse, and Sleep Talk. And Body Press. So, it felt a little one-dimensional with its best sets being that. But Unaware was a bonus to prevent myself from being set up and swept. But yeah, that is the Donzo round 4. And then I believe I started dipping into my free picks next. It was either my tier 3 or my free picks. It was my tier 3 free. I got low kicks again. I love this one. You've seen my other draft analysis. Tinted Lens is broken. Granted, if Fire Ghost, Fire Flying, or things that times 4 resist, it is now a it's just a normal resist now. Or if it's just a regular resist, it becomes neutral or super effective. Tinted Lens can just override typing mismatches. And this thing being able to U-turn out, lunge, first impression, sucker punch, bait out the protect and sword stance. Now I'm +2 attack with sucker punch. Just hits super hard. This being dark and bug is interesting typing. Granting, I have a lot of weaknesses. Fairy, rock, fire, flying. I'm immune to psychic, which is a plus. But it's like, yeah, I'm not the bulkiest thing in the world, but I hit super hard. And I look forward to putting in work with low kicks. This being able to U-turn pivot into Arcanine, being able to force something out because the first impression, fire off a U-turn, and they switch first, I get momentum, bam. In comes Dragonite or Toxtricity. That is lethal. That is absolutely disgusting at the same time. And then we get into round 6. Gastrodon! I did not even notice this thing was there. So I got a ground type and a water type with a water immunity built in. Oh, granted, its ice is neutral on this thing. It still chews. Oh, granted, I'm times 4 weak to freeze dry, just like Dragonite is. It'll chew. I also have I have Arcanine, Toxtricity, Low Kick to come in and sponge the grass moves that want to one-shot this. I even got Dragonite to sponge them. Granted, I'm not switching in a Donzonzo on a Grass Knot. I'd have to be out of my mind. But the fact that this gets rocks, spikes, T-spikes now. Granted, and Recover got dropped down to 5 PP, which is 8 max. But this still gets toxic. I can still do the things that it did in Sword and Shield, but better. Granted, I'm not the type of player to just sit there and recover stall. But you can have some hazards. You can take an Ice Beam, an Earth Power, and a Chilling Water to the face, and lower your attack, and force you out. I don't care. The fact of the matter, you have to deal with breaking this Dragonite, Arcanine, and Dodonzo without the offense coming in and just picking you off. This will slowly break teams, especially with the toxic spikes and the access to just toxic in general. Gastrodon is amazing, and I actually get to use it for once. I did not get to use it at all in Sword and Shield, which makes me excited. And that's enough about Gastrodon before I get all in on it. Round 7. The questionable pick of this draft is Indeedee male. Only male. Somebody else has female. But the good thing about this gen, 2 little bonuses came. Indeedee male now gets Healing Wish and Aromatherapy, which were previously only female only. Alright, I'm faster and more offensive with this thing than female. And I got slightly less bulk. Alright, I still got Psychic Terrain. That's a Psychic somebody doesn't want to switch into. And if you're a Dark type, I got Dazzling Gleam as well on deck. This turns off priority, which also is a double-edged sword, with me having Extreme Speed Dragonite, Arcanine, and First Impression Low Kicks. But that's not always going to be around. This is mainly here to, if I'm set up and I tear a Dragonite into something that I no longer need the extreme speed for, well, now Dragonite's plus, for example, plus 2 attack, plus 2 speed, no longer on the ground. You can't hit me with Ice Shard. That is a plus. Removing that times 4 damage and turning off the activation of it hitting me, it's really good just by terrain being here. That means Dragonite can be more flexible and set up and be able to have a boosted attack from the terrain. Say Dragonite's Terra Psychic. Okay, you can't Sucker Punch me now. But I have a boosted Terrain Blast. On paper, this does not look functional. But if people have seen me battle by now, I can make something out of nothing. And this, having access to Healing Wish now, is amazing. Okay, I know I'm going to die. Healing Wish. That sits there until a mon that has previously taken damage comes in. It floats. Say I have like a 2 HP Arcanine. It'll fully heal. And then it'll apply the Toxic Spikes and the other hazard damage. So that leaves me, like, say there's 3 layers of spikes and rocks. I'm at like 75% health. Sorry, 60% health. From 2 to 60, that is if I'm not Boots. If I'm Boots, I'm full health. Healing Wish also erases the status condition. Say my Dragonite's asleep, almost dead, comes back in. It's now fully awake. Round 2, ding ding. That and this thing can just dent on its own. Slap a Choice Specs on this, they have no Dark type. You better have a Psychic Resist, otherwise it's going to plow through you because that's a 30% boost from the terrain. Plus the stab, plus this, plus Terra Psychic. Bam! It's going to hit just as hard as this boy Toxtricity over here, but not as hard. And then we've got Tier 5 Knacklestack, a.k.a. Minecraft Steve. Or whatever name I decide to call it after Minecraft. Or just Creeper in general. Because look at that thing. It looks like it would be on Minecraft. Purifying Salt is really good. Has all ghost moves. And I can't be statused. This is my status sponge. This is going to have Eviolite. This even has the move Salt Cure, which does more damage to water and steel types. It does like 25% in after turn effects, which is insane. And it stays even if I die. They have to switch to remove it. It's kind of like Leech Seed, except it's not healing me, which is interesting because it steadily increases too, turn for turn. It's not a lock to fix damage. It increases slightly, like by a couple percent every turn, which is really cool. This gets access to rocks. This gets access to recover, iron defense, body press. A lot of rock coverage, gets access to mud shot, earthquake, and quite a few other moves. This game even gets access to counter. So you hit me with a physical move, I reflect that right back at you. I can recover it off later. Knacklestack can just sit here and be annoying. That and its Spadef is nothing to wave a finger at. You, especially with Eviolite, this thing alone can just come in. Its only job be a hazard setter and just start chewing teams. This little guy is going to be a phenomenal pickup for a tier 5 on this team. And then we get into round 9. I picked up Avalugg. I have never used an Avalugg. All I know is ridiculous defense. And if it's in snow, that's even higher. This gets access to iron defense, recover, body press, rapid spin, which gives me hazard removal, which is really good for me because I might need it, I might not. This team might be so explosive that they don't get a chance to set hazards, but Avalugg just hits so hard. It's like 284 defense and 184 it's something like that. It's like 184 attack and like almost 300 defense. Highest in the game, even higher than Cloyster, is ridiculous. Granted, its Spadef isn't all there, but hey, you can even run Assault Vest on this and it'll be able to chew. That and this being able to Terra to override its weaknesses is kind of good as well, to guarantee I get the rapid spin off, while giving a lot of damage out with the body presses. This thing, if it's able to set up and they don't have a special attacker, this thing can just win on its own. Granted, it is incredibly slow. I forgot. Indeedee Mail also has Trick Room. Hi, Avalog. You want to play a game? This also gets access to Avalanche, which is double damage if you hit me. And it's 100% accurate, which is stronger than Icicle Crest. This even gets Ice Spinner now, which is 5 base power less than Icicle Crest, but it's 100% accurate, and it removes terrain. So I look forward to using Avalog. I look forward to being able to just manipulate the hazard game with this, and being able to just, if I have to, sponge a hit from a setup mon and reflect the damage back to him with counter, I will. It has situational jobs. It's not exactly going to come every week, but this mon, I hope, it's going to be really good. Wildcard round. It came back to me and I got Grimmsnarl. Here's where I said the double-edged sword. Because Indeedee Mail's terrain turns off my prankster priority of targeting my opponent. It does not turn off my ability to set up light screen and reflect and bulk up myself. Granted, if terrain's not there, this still gets access to Thunder Wave to cripple my opponent, literally cut their speed down. This even gets access to Parting Shot this gen. Parting Shot into Dragonite or into Arcanine, further reducing their attack, or into a Toxtricity, allowing it to get set up. It's disgusting. Which is absolutely terrifying. That, Psychic Terrain doesn't stop me from clicking Parting Shot on things that are on the ground as well. If they are a flyer or they levitate, I can Parting Shot and get out. Granted, Dark types also block Prankster, but is it going to matter if I Nasty Plot or bulk up in your face? I'm able to change my Terra typing. I'm able to just completely launch back a Spirit Break and break your special attacker. I'm able to launch a Play Rough, because even if I change my Terra typing, I still have the stab on the original of my Dark and Fairy stab. I can smack you in the face. That is really good. Granted, a Poison type wants to launch and move into me. This can be Terra Steel. I'm now immune to the Poison move. Okay, I can now launch off, fire off a move back at you. I get Stomping Tantrum. Your Poison type is not going to love me. That, and I can just bulk up that turn for free. If you're going to, say, launch off a Sludge Bomb. Bulk up. Okay. I'm immune. Now you're switching out or taking a hit you don't want to. Grimmsnarl is going to be so fun this gen. And personally, I love offensive Grimmsnarl more than I love defensive with screens and Parting Shot. Granted, there are going to be matchups where I'm going to want those screens. And if I get them, I get them. And then last but not least, Wildcard came around. And unfortunately, Don Zolonzo, I'm sorry, I have a Gastrodon. I picked a Hawlucha. Hawlucha has a lot of potential to this gen. Because with Burden and its high attack stat, its high speed, now with the capability to Terra in Psychic Terrain into something that's not flying, turn off the priority, be able to freely Sword Stance, and then reverse sweep is absolutely terrifying. And this gives me default. This gives me a second form of hazard removal besides Avalon. Granted, defog's going to be a last resort. But the fact that this can change its typing is amazing. I no longer have the drawback of, hey, psychic terrain. Halusa can still be picked off by Ice Shard. Not anymore. Change it into just pure fighting. Okay. Ice Shard doesn't hit me. I resist Bullet Punch. I resist Tucker Punch. Actually, no, I don't even have to say resist anymore, because if Psychic Terrains is up, you can't hit me at all. I could actually bait my opponent thinking, hey, I'm going to fire off that move. Have it fail. Just because I Terra. That is disgusting. This overall team is disgusting. This by far is my most offensive, straightforward draft I've done out of the 4. And I love it. Like, everything here, standalone, is a threat. And I look forward to using the team. But without further ado, if you like the team, and feel free to like the video. If there's something you see that you think I would change or need to change, go ahead and leave a comment below. If you think I need more hazard removal, for example. If you think I need to make a further trades, I do get 5 of them throughout the season. Feel free to voice your opinion. But like and subscribe if you haven't, and enjoy. And you guys have a good day. Peace.